Welcome back to another edition of the Edinboro Wrestling Show. The postseason upon us, the regular season behind us. I'm Joe Lodanosky, Matt Hill, of course, coming off a pretty fun stretch of dual meets at Macomb. Some good turnouts. Matt Side Social was awesome, but I think at the end of the day, if you really want the checks flowing, you want the postseason to be humming. And I guess the question that we start with that everybody wants. The health, and I know Jared McGill was knocked out of a couple of dual meets, but I think he's good to go now. Health-wise, you have to be pretty pleased with where you're at.
Yeah, the guys seem to be pretty stable right now. Everybody's dinged up this time of year, so I would say we're going into the MAC tournament ready to rock, and I think we're prepared for it. We just gotta be really smart about how we train the next 9 days, and I'm feeling good about the guys' health, and we'll just keep progressing forward. And then after Max, hopefully we got a few 3 or 4 or 5 guys to NCAAs, and we'll do our best to compete at a high level with whatever circumstance we got.
Now, we will talk to some of the seniors coming up, but last year you guys finished third in the MAC tournament. That happens not because your best guys wrestle their best. It's because everybody else steps up. And let's be honest, you have to feel the positive momentum right now with Chris Vargo at 125, but maybe nobody more than Jacob Brenneman at 141. If you're gonna get to the podium as a team again, who are some other guys in addition to those two that are gonna have to step up?
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the entire lineup, and we have a competitive group regardless of what weight class, and we have a Tate Gazer at 174 can compete with anybody in the weight class. Brody Evans can compete with anybody in the weight class on any given day. Heavyweight is kind of up for grabs in a way, but Aiden's a competitor, and it's his second time there, so he's going to have some good experience, and hopefully he can come out and place higher than his seed or win the thing. That's kind of the way you look at it. We got a guy named Garrett McChesney at 157. He's kind of on a winning streak right now. I think he's kind of coming into his own. Still a long way to go, but we're excited to see where he kind of progresses through these championship moments as well. So
now you mentioned heavyweight. Heavyweight is wide open, but it feels like that most of the weight classes. There might be a guy that you could point to, but there's probably a pretty lengthy list of buts in each weight class that if some things go their way. Do you remember a MAC tournament that's as wide open as this one sort of feels?
For a team aspect, I think the race is pretty wide open. There are few weight classes where there's clearly some favorites, but that's why it's championship season. You never know what's going to happen. There's going to be some crazy matches. There's going to be upsets. There's going to be times when we're like scratching our head, and we're just going to have to adjust to it, and someone has to step up in another area. But a lot of the work is already done. Now it's performance time, and our guys all know that. We've preached that. They know that your season isn't built just on one weekend. It's built through the entire body of work you do all year long. But obviously, championship times championship. This is where you seize your opportunities, and this is where you really make your money.
Now, you mentioned the 2-week layoff from the last duel. It's not this weekend, it's the following weekend. How fine of a line is it? Because when you've got a dual meet to look forward to, it's generally not 2 weeks out. How do you juggle the rest and to make sure you're not overtraining so your guys are as fresh as possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a difficult task to really understand where their bodies are. But I think, like I said, the work's all done. Now we're just with short, intense practices, a lot of quality over quantity right now, making sure we're resting our bodies properly, making sure we're, diet, sleep, and all those things are kind of coming into it, and all into one peak time to be your best. And we always hear that term, you got to peak right now, and peak. And that does happen, but at the end of the day, a lot of who wants it more at this time of year, and who wants to kind of rise above some of those obstacles, some of those little knee bang, knee hurts a little bit, your shoulder hurts a little bit. Some of these guys only have 3 to 4 weeks of their career left in wrestling, and they got to put it all out there and lay it on the line. So there's nothing better than championship time in any sport, especially in sport of wrestling. And you're going to see some fun, magical things happen at the MAC tournament and then heading into the NCAAs too.
Now, I know that obviously big shoes to follow in your spot. So there's not a lot of pressure on you to do things that have never been done here before, because lots of things have been done. Except this year,
Of course.
you had the Mat Side Social, which was an overwhelming success. I think we had over 100 people in the last duel. Obviously, not a lot of people get to know like what goes into that and how cool of a fundraiser that. So if you could take a couple of minutes and just sort of thank the people, because it was, I mean, the amount of compliments that we got from the opposition. I remember before the Clarion duel, Keith Farrar walks out. He's like, dude, there's so much pressure on me. I'm like, for what? He's like, what am I going to do next year? So, I mean, obviously, like, it was a pretty cool environment that you guys put together.
Yeah, it was a good opportunity for us to kind of bring a unique experience to our fans, bring people that never been to wrestling matches to our gym upstairs, and give them a one of a kind of experience with the tabletops and the hors d'oeuvres, the food, the drinks, and all that stuff, and kind of bring like a really cool atmosphere. And it kept catching fire. There's even more people interested for next year already, and it's a cool addition to our wrestling dual meets. We did do 3 of them in a row in February, so that was a lot at once, but it was fun, and it wasn't just like a one-time event. Where we did it 4 different times this year. So I think it's important as coaches, and a lot of the coaches in the MAC conference are the same way, is we have to make our matches a show. You have to make it an experience for the fans, and bring the people that maybe don't, maybe you just want to sit on a couch. Now they're like, I'm going. Like I'm driving into Edinboro, and I'm going to Macomb Fieldhouse, and I'm going to have a good time. So obviously winning's important, and the guys feed off that energy of, they got a crazy local guy screaming at them and with a beer in his hand 10 feet away, and he's pinning the guy. It's a fun experience. So
yeah, it certainly is. And boy, some of those moments felt like we were in a time machine, because it was packed and people were loud. Well, certainly, Coach, appreciate you, and obviously best of luck as we're going to start to talk to some of the fellas that we'll take to Matt in a couple of weeks in Buffalo, and hopefully in a couple of weeks in Cleveland. More to come here with the Edinboro Wrestling Show right after this. Welcome back to the Edinboro Wrestling Show. Jared McGill, 184 pounds. It's been a while, man. This is it. You've had the climb, the fall, the rise, the trip, the injury. You name it.
So many ups and downs.
So many ups and downs. Here we are. Health-wise, I know you had to get an extra match in because you had to sit out the Clarion and Lock Haven match.
Lock Haven duel,
You're good?
Yeah, I feel great.
Okay.
Yeah, body feels good. Ready to go.
Now, obviously, I mean, this is it. I mean, you've had you may be the rare occurrence because you've had to mentally prepare for this at a time or two before.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I thought it was done like multiple times. Yeah. After leaving Pitt, I wasn't sure if it was done then. Came here, had some things happen here. I didn't know if I was done then. More injuries last year. I was like, am I done? But this time is actually
this time the math is mathing. There's
no more opportunities.
There's no more cards to pull out of the deck.
Yeah, it's done.
But are you okay with that? I mean, because obviously, I don't think people realize. I mean, there is the rare occurrence where maybe a kid picks it up in middle school and turns out to be pretty good, but that's far and few between. I mean,
and especially now it's more rare.
This has been the lion's share of your life. Yeah. I mean, have you kind of had a chance to sort of step back and think all the weekends, all the car rides?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's all coming like full circle for me. But at the end of the day, like chapters closed, it's like I'm gonna have to move on with it. But I am grateful for everything that's happened. So like it's like more of like a bittersweet type of thing. And like I'm happy with it, and I'm excited to wrestle in the postseason and give it one last go around and see what I can get out of it.
Now, you're in an interesting spot where, your path is loaded. At 184 in the national tournament is absolutely loaded.
Yes.
So
Max first, though.
But what I'm saying is that your path in Cleveland can get a little bit easier based on what happens in Buffalo.
Yeah, correct.
Obviously you can't grind over that in one match at a time, but you've spent how many years preparing for that? You're a human being. Like, it's impossible that math is not playing. I mean, a couple of bumps on the seed line in Cleveland, and you're talking, you would need to have a historic run to get to the podium where if you win in Buffalo and things go your way. Yeah. I mean, how do you deal with that without because you're a guy that likes to wrestle free, but how do you not pile up that pressure knowing that it looms out there?
Yeah, I would just say just taking it one match at a time. It's like, and at this point, like, the way I look at it is like everybody's good. So it's like there's no like looking ahead and being like, oh, if I win, I'm going to have this guy. If I lose, I'm going to have this guy. If I do well at max, I'm going to be like better off. If I lose at max, then I'm screwed. It's just like I'm just looking at it like I got to wrestle my best. Like if I want to achieve the goals that I want to achieve, like I'm going to have to wrestle my best regardless of who is across from me. Yeah. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. So like it kind of takes like there's always the pressure to perform. So it's like there's no any added pressure and like you have to do this, you have to do this, blah, 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 this guy. Like it's just like you got to wrestle your best.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the 33 is going to be pretty wild, but 84 is probably up there in terms of that. But you've had success in terms of the MAC. You've had success with some of the top guys. Does recent history matter, or is it still we got 7 minutes and let it fly?
Yeah, it's more at this point. It's like the past doesn't really matter. It's like that 7 minutes, like what you do with that 7 minutes is like gonna like basically it's gonna be the outcome of what happens. What happens in the past or what happened in the past, like doesn't really have an effect on those 7 minutes. So you just kind of got to focus on those 7 minutes and wrestle hard. So.
And obviously the mistakes get amplified, right? Like you might get away with an errant shot on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night in January. An errant shot in March could be the end of it.
Right.
That attention to detail.
Yeah, for sure.
You just.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it like in that situation, it's more about like rising to the occasion, right? So it's like for me, I feel like in the bigger matches, like I tend to like rise to the occasion and like I'm like moving my feet a little bit quicker, setting like my shot up, like my shots a little bit harder. So it's like you kind of just got to rise to the occasion.
Well, certainly expectation for Mr. McGill very high. First in Buffalo and then obviously in Cleveland. Jared, it's been fun and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, more to come. The Edinboro Wrestling Show. Take a deeper dive into some of the other weights as we get ready for a trip to Buffalo in the MAC tournament. Welcome back to the Edinboro Wrestling Show. 165 pounds. Ryan Bergos. The expectation word has been floated with this guy. Generally, it's expectation followed by injury.
Always.
Knock on wood. This year, it's just expectation. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. New year. Been on top of my game. Just wrestling the best of my ability, always.
Now, obviously, you've been to nationals, which seems like a million years ago. You got injured, obviously. But what do you take as now this journey? Because we talked about this with Jared. I mean, this isn't just you picked it up in middle school. I mean, this has been your life's work, weekend, car ride, plane ride, whatever it's been. But, how much more can you put into the preparation versus your first trip to nationals? Obviously, probably a little bit just on the happy to be there side, whereas you've had a couple years where you've expected to be there and things have not worked out. So what's the lead up going to be like for you into this postseason?
I would say mainly focusing on conditioning. Obviously, the wrestling's there. I've been doing this for 18 years. I know how to wrestle. I know how to move my feet, scramble, get to shots, get out on bottom, do all the basic things that you need to do to wrestle. And it's just, do I have the conditioning to wrestle for 7 minutes plus, or do I not? And do I have the will to go out there and put everything out?
Now, again, you've had an interesting up and down ride and not
long time,
not having serious injury this year, like seemingly you had the previous handful of years. When you look back at some of your matches, do you feel, as being an old guy, quite frankly, do you feel that you've learned a lot? You feel that I know we always, I don't want to say make fun of you, but sort of make fun of you from the standpoint that you wait to go until somebody is in on your knee, or but when you look back from year one to now as a wrestler, how much have you grown in terms of being in that spot where you're like, I've done this before?
Just knowing all the positions of, I like guys being on my leg. I like being a little defensive. I like getting in like those weird positions, but that's kind of,
you're comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Very comfortable in the uncomfortable. And some people look at it and they're like, what is going on? And I'm like, this is just a normal position. I've been in this wrestling room every day for the last 6 years working on that thing, plus working at home just on all those positions that you might think is obnoxious. This is normal.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay with it. It's okay to be there. I know how to make my way out of it, know how to make some miracles happen and do some crazy things.
Now, obviously, in terms of like the game plan, the preparation, you mentioned to make sure that you're in good condition. Is that more running, less wrestling? Is that more bike ride? Like what's your plan going to be? I mean, at this point, nobody knows your body better than you in terms of where you need to be.
It's quick, hard drilling, a nice 15 minutes alive to get that breath going, and then hitting these machines. These machines do everything. They do justice to get you mentally and physically ready to wrestle 12 minutes if needed. They get you ready to go, and they put you in a specific zone that, a lot of athletes don't actually get into. When you're in here and you're doing these types of workouts, like, they really kick you down, and you learn how to build yourself up that way.
Now, I did want to chat with you about something that I think is pretty unique, and hopefully something that we can continue, and that would be the Mat Side Social.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like when, they raise your hand in front of that crowd and it comes to its, there's a lot of guys that wrestled Fredborough that didn't get, that had a lot of success that didn't get to experience 2,500 people in Macomb Fieldhouse. What's that feel like? And obviously, probably mid-match, you don't really notice it, but what is that like, the lead out, and then obviously when they raise your hand and the place goes crazy?
The atmosphere, I've been waiting 6 years for it. I've never seen anything like it here in Edinboro. And having that Mat Side Social is awesome because, you get all those town guys that love wrestling, like especially Edinboro wrestling, like right there on the mat. They're ready to cheer for you, root for you. You're warming up in the corner and you can hear everyone going crazy for your teammates. And then it's your turn to get out there, and it all kind of dulls off and it goes silent. And then, getting your hand raised in front of all these alumni, like Bruce Bumgarner being there watching you from the mat side. It's something that, like, I've been waiting 6 years to see, and it's something that I think Edinboro and Coach Hill had brought through that is awesome.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Ryan, it's been a pleasure to get to know you and meet your family and know your family. Best of luck next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
All right, more to come. Ryan Michaels will join us when we come back. Thanks for watching. You're watching the Edinboro Wrestling Show. Back with more right after this. Welcome back to the Edinboro Wrestling Show. Ryan Michaels, 149 pounds. They call him Spikes. Maybe we should have called you Chip. You had a chip on your shoulder from last year. What's that? To be that close, I can't imagine there was a drill or rep that you got tired on that somebody didn't remind you, or that you had to remind yourself. What's it been like to carry that, and how much of a motivation has it been this year?
It really has motivated me a lot. I worked out here all summer after that. The whole time it was like we'd be doing something, I got one more rep, and they're like, that's the 4 seconds that you needed, so everything leading up to this has been a reminder of what happened last year, and hoping to not even be close this year.
Now, as you've had this windy road to get you here, how hard was it to get back on the mat after that? I'm sure eventually it became motivation, but I'm sure there was some things that lingered in your mind. Like, is it worth it? Do I have another year in me to go win those 4 seconds?
Yeah, that was kind of like honestly like made the deal. Like that happened. I'm like, I'm taking my next year. Like I'm coming back, and I need to.
Because that can go one of two
back.
ways.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty easy.
Yeah,
to
it
walk
could have
away.
like broke
Yeah.
me and been like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm good with that. But now I was pretty determined, like all off season, that I was. And like if you ask anybody, when we did like preseason meets with people, they're like, "What's your goals for this year?" I was like, "Well, my goal is to make the podium, and even if I fall short, then I made it to nationals." So that's kind of how I looked at it, as like a motivation. Like I'm gonna get it.
I feel like you could be a guy that could really, just with your style, I think that you could upset some people because you can be so heavy on top and finish. And I thought there were some times in the last couple of dual meets where it, maybe you're not lighting up the scoreboard with tech falls and pins, but 3+ minutes of ride time is a lot of points. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The score doesn't always reflect the domination. But where are you now? Because I feel like the last couple of weeks, I don't want to say peak. Well, we won't say, but you are certainly trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I feel like the second half of the year, really after the pit duel, it's really just went up. I think I've only lost once, and I feel like it's just going in an upward direction. I went down to George Mason last weekend, had a good tournament there. I won it, and I feel like it's just dialing me in for the postseason. Now,
you had last year so bitter. What was the positive from that as you prepare? Because there has to be some little things that you've had time to reflect on. Had I only done this, what do you think was the biggest takeaway that in your wrestling from last season to this season?
I think it's just to be tough. Like last year, 4 seconds, if I was just tough, I could have grinded it out, So it's more of like the mindset behind everything. Not really like a technique. It's more of a mindset.
So you mentioned that. That's interesting. When you get to the deep end of the pool, if you had to pick one, would it be talent or tough? Because everybody's talented, right?
Yeah, at this stage, everyone pretty much is talented. So I think a lot of people are talented and they don't work hard. So I think adding in the both is what jumps you levels.
It's certainly the grind and the mindset. There's because you're not going to go out there and just throw people around all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just going to have to hang on for dear life, and maybe it's an escape, maybe
really.
it's a ride out. That is there talent to that? Yeah, but I mean, to will your way to an escape or to will your way to hang on. I think I'm picking tough, right?
Yeah, because it's like this guy doesn't want it as bad as I do,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna ride him, or I'm gonna get out. And it's just like he can be talented, but if I'm getting to my feet 6 times, it's kind of hard to.
I wanted to ask because it was so cool because there were some down years. Right before you got here was pretty bad. What was that like? The Clarion duel was one for the ages. I had a bunch of buddies that came and they were like, "This is the coolest thing I'd ever been to." And obviously, when Ohio State or Oklahoma State or Iowa come, but to have everybody on the mat and screaming your name, what's that feel like? No, again, if nothing happens in a positive from here on out in your wrestling career, to look back on the last time to have that has to be something pretty cool because a lot of guys have never gotten to experience that.
That was awesome. That was so cool. I loved every second of that. Like having the football team there, like just roaring every time like someone got a takedown. They were learning as the match was going on, so they were like figuring out, like that's a takedown. We're yelling for that, and like that match, I split my head open, so I had the head wrap, so I just looked like a freaking dog. And I look up and they're all like, "Oh!" It was awesome.
It's awesome. You got to feed off that, right?
It was so cool.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, and I hope it doesn't get down to 4 seconds this time around.
We're gonna make sure it doesn't.
All right, buddy. Ryan Michaels, as we get you ready for the postseason, 6th and 7th of March at Buffalo, and then 2 weeks after that, we head to Cleveland. For Jared McGill, Ryan Bergos, of course, Matt Hill, Ryan Michaels, I'm Joe Lodanosky. Thanks for watching the Edinboro Wrestling Show. Until next time, enjoy the wrestling.